foot to the floor. Launch mode ready. Hello and welcome to another Kyle Connor YouTube channel video. I've been saying this quite a bit on this channel, but normally you see me standing next to an electric car. And well, that's on our out of spec channels, and occasionally electric cars will pop up here on this channel, but this is my personal channel where I can join you in my personal car enthusiasm, because I'm still an enthusiast of going fast, driving cool cars, and experiencing some of the best engineering when it comes to vehicles. And that's what we do on this channel. We get to drive some really cool and crazy cars. And today it is the Honda, and I should say Honda in certain markets, but it is the Acura NSX. And this is something that I've never driven, the current generation NSX. I've always wanted to. I think it's an interesting car. It's a hybrid. It has supercar looks, not quite like supercar crazy numbers, but I think it's a really cool engineering package that I just want to go and experience for the first time. We're actually here to drive the new Acura ZDX. We're in Santa Barbara, California, and this was parked out front. And I have to say a huge thank you to my friend Andrew. I was like, Andrew, I've never driven an NSX. Do you mind if I take this one? And he's like, yep, bring it back tonight. So I have this for the day, and we're gonna go have some fun. We have 3 electric motors, a V6 3.5 liter, torque vectoring, lots of cool tech, and this is a car from 2019. The production run has already ended on the NSX, and so this is a bit of a homage, a bit of a bucket list for me to cross off a car that I've been so curious about since it launched in 2017, or late 16, was it? And it unfortunately never gathered the enthusiasm that maybe I even had for this car. I thought, okay, maybe it was a bit overlooked in the market. Maybe that was for the better or for the worse, but we're at least gonna drive it today and I'll be able to experience it. So join me, we're gonna go drive it, of course, in the city, get to some canyon roads, send it, and go have some fun. In terms of styling, this one's 2019. They had some changes. Andrew was telling me this painted front bumper up here looking pretty nice, a few other little things that have gone onto it, but ultimately the NSX it is largely the same vehicle to vehicle. The only major change they had was a slight tire change midway through the production cycle, and there was a Type S version, which this is not, that used the same mechanical components, but let you use more of the battery pack. They let you use roughly 1 kilowatt hour here in the NSX. I think it was closer to almost 2 kilowatt hours in the Type S. You could drive electric, pure electric for longer. It is not a plug-in hybrid, it is just a pure hybrid. This one, if you come onto the back, just to show you guys, this is a winged car. Apparently they spec'd all the press cars with wings, and this is also a saleable vehicle. This is not a pre-production or anything. This is number 2114, 02114. And it is a car that just Acura kept around. They never turned in their press cars. They're like, we're not making any more of these. Let's not give them back. And they haven't. And then it's a great opportunity where I'm able to drive this years later, years after production. This wing was not standard. It was a few $1,000 option. Apparently the design team hates it, but then like a lot of journalists liked it. So most of the press cars were spec'd with the carbon wing, but it's not actually for downforce. They have some aero that comes through these trusses that run down the side of the car and actually come out above the headlight. That's where a lot of the downforce comes from. Super cool, really neat. I'll run through and throw up the specifications on screen. I think it's 470 horsepower or something like that. It's not anything super crazy, but it should just be a really nicely engineered, interesting package with huge torque vectoring and certainly some amazing performance capabilities that I'm looking forward to trying out with you. Has a 9-speed dual clutch transmission. I'm curious how that electric motor interfaces with the dual clutch. That's pretty complicated to do back in 2017 or 16 when this car was engineered. We're going up on almost probably 10 years since a lot of the work was done to make this car happen. And from my eye, from the outside looking in, I would say it still looks modern, especially in this orange color. It looks special, and I think they're getting a bit of a renaissance, a bit of a resurgence in love from the community, from NSX fans and enthusiasts. When this car launched, it was the hypercar battle of the 918, the LaFerrari, and other incredible supercars that were going at the time. And this just wasn't at that level. It wasn't priced at that level, but I think in the media and in the car world, I think a lot of the enthusiasm was just skipped out that should have been there for this car, just from the outside looking in. But again, Maybe it drives like crap. I don't know. Let's get in. Let's go have some fun in the hills here in California in the Acura NSX. Jumping inside of the NSX for the first time, we have these really nice big doors, big sill down here as well. But one thing I have to say is I've been lucky enough to drive some crazy cars, and I think you guys have been with me for a lot of them on this channel. This still feels pretty dailyable. It's wide in here, feels pretty big. Let's turn it on. I love how, instantly the combustion engine kicks on. Interesting. This one has 11,000 miles on it, so it's been driven. No height adjustment for the seat, feeling like. What's funny is you get a lot of like 10-year-old Honda buttons in here. And I think for a lot of people that were buying NSX, we'll go auto on the climate control. A lot of them probably just didn't even know that these would be Honda buttons because they just haven't owned a Honda in the past. But up to this point, for me, as someone who drives a lot of vehicles, it's funny to see the same shifter used in like an Accord, and it has brake hold. But that's kind of the nice thing about having a NSX, is the fact that you can get all of this crazy performance and engineering and tech, and you just know it's going to work because it's Honda, Acura, one company. And my understanding is that a lot of the proving grounds in Ohio, they're big like oval test loop, and they have a bunch of other situations that they run there. A lot of the work there was, or I should say the facility was massively expanded for the NSX. It's got a similar steering wheel to the Amira with this flat top. Not sure I'm digging that so much. We can get myself dialed in. I'm just trying to, let's just see what we have. So it's so funny. If you were to close your eyes and look at switchgear, you're like, am I in a Honda Odyssey, or am I in a, I don't know, still over $100,000 in the used market by quite a bit, NSX. 11,000 miles seems like quite a bit, but again, these things were pretty much durability tested. So we have a couple different drive modes. We have quiet, we have, which gives you like powertrain, shouty, super handling, all-wheel drive, VSA, stability control, suspension, and steering. So we have Sport, Sport Plus, which I just heard the valves open for the exhaust, and then you hold all the way to the right for track. There we go, and that turns off some stability control, even shut down some climate, it felt like there, and everything's dialed up. Perhaps we'll play around with that in the canyons, but for now, Sport mode is like the standard normal mode. Quiet is, I guess, just for cruising around in the neighborhood, if you will. So we're gonna crack the windows a little bit. It's so funny how we're in this crazy hypercar, insane looking thing, but then even the window motors sound like an Odyssey. I love that. That is so funny. We got to get all of our stuff situated. We'll get settled in, and then we'll hit the road. We are heading out, and I have it just in the standard sport mode configuration, which means we're running completely electric. Man, brake pedal blending and tuning. I'm really curious to see how this all did it. Apparently it can do like almost 0.4, 0.5 G of regen, which is a significant amount of regen for a tiny little 1 kilowatt-hour battery pack. Steering wheel is weird being, sort of a flat top wheel, but at least it's not too dissimilar from the Lotus that I've been getting used to this week. And we're here just driving electric mode. So I'm in the assist function. I don't really feel it shifting at first glance. It's just a silent experience in this thing. Wow, my first drive in an NSX, super cool. Looks like we're gonna have to get right up to highway speeds. Now, the engine was idling a bit, so it was coming up to temperature a bit. So I'm not just gonna whack the throttle, of course, we're gonna let everything come up to temperature. So just a tiny bit of throttle there, combustion engine is on, and we have to get up to speed. So here we go. Just keeping it in automatic mode. This 3.5 liter V6 has almost no relation to a standard Honda minivan or anything like that. It's a bespoke engine for the NSX. The NSX IMSA car actually, I believe, runs this engine without the electric components, and the only change to the engine, the internals are the same, everything. They just had to put on a output shaft for an alternator to run the low voltage electronics because there's no electric motor, obviously pancake motor in there. We're here just along the ocean. If you look over this way, it's absolutely gorgeous where we are. Alyssa, you and I have driven some cool vehicles on this road. We've had a Morgan up here. We've recently had the Lotus. We've had Porsches. We've had a bunch of stuff. And now we can add an NSX to the list. How cool is that?
We're very, 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 very fortunate.
Absolutely. This is really a great way to spend a day. So we're gonna merge back up onto the highway. Engine's still slightly cold, so just taking it easy in the standard sport mode. It's amazing how humble the car feels in here with all of the buttons. Was something one of the guys mentioned to us, and I'm like, that's a great way to put it. It's like a humble supercar because everything is very Honda, very Acura. The engine, at least at low RPM, doesn't sound like anything crazy or bespoke. It having the electric portion and the valves closed on the exhaust means that it's actually incredibly quiet and comfortable. And amazing how much quieter this is than our Emira on the highway.
Yeah, it definitely is. A lot quieter.
Very cool. Well, I'm definitely getting a bunch of mid-engine cars in on this channel recently. We've done Cayman, Emira, this. Life does not suck. So let's continue cruising down the highway. We'll get up to some good roads and then go have some fun. Guys, well, the engine temperature is seemingly at normal operating temperature. I've switched us into Sport Plus mode, and I just want to get some revs on, just listen to initially how this feels. I've noticed under even partial throttle, sometimes it will put some energy back into the battery, but let's take a listen. Yeah, light throttle, you can hear the turbos just spooling a little bit, a little wastegate action when we lift off. It sounds cool. Love the induction noise of this engine back here. It's really nice. And you know, Sport Plus that we're in right now is pretty dang cool, that it just lets me do what I need it to do. Now I can just purely select manual now. Sounds great. Holy smokes, that's awesome. And if you take a look here, here's a ZDX Type S, which is awesome to see. So glad to see you know, other Acura folks out on the road. Awesome. Well, what a fun event already, getting into this thing and having a go. So yeah, let's continue, go find some good roads. But wow, just opening this up for the first time, it doesn't seem to have crazy power. Maybe even up higher sometimes with these motors you do have to rev them, but it just feels so nicely balanced. And I keep coming back to, this car is almost, not this exact one, but when NSX launched almost 10 years ago, and it feels quite modern. Certainly I can tell gearbox technology has improved in terms of crispness of shifts and a few other things like around there. Brake pedal tuning has gotten better, but to keep in mind that this is a vehicle that has carbon ceramic brakes that operate completely different in different temperature ranges and with different usage cycles as they wear over time. And it has to compensate not only for that, but also for the electric motor regen, with the individual front motors are doing most of the regen. It's pretty crazy. It almost gives you this quad motor-like experience. The brake pedal feels certainly not as natural as a lot of modern brake-by-wire systems initially right off the bat. Maybe when we get some heat into the systems, but I find it hard to believe that this didn't get as much attention as maybe the engineering work went into it deserved, because it seems pretty damn cool to me. And I like how I can put it in automatic mode. We can back it down into sport or even quiet, and it just feels like we're driving a normal car at this point, doesn't it, Alyssa?
Yeah, it's very quiet. That makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it's dead silent now, and the suspension backs off the damper all the way, and this is truly a car you can daily drive. I had no idea that this car was as comfortable and as normal. Like it's like it's like an Acura TSX. It doesn't feel like we're in an NSX. It's pretty cool. Wow, I love this split character. Really do. Maybe it wasn't hardcore enough for people. Maybe that's what they were missing from something that looked this insane. But I'm excited to try it in the canyons. So let's go. Well, you guys joined me on some narrow roads. We're just going to do a little bit of exploration. So I'm going to first start by knocking it into Sport Plus. I'm then going to select manual. That really made the suspension stiff, which might be a bit too stiff for this road. This also isn't a great road to like totally rip on, but we can at least start getting a sense of acceleration and things like that. So, man, it's got some power when you hit the freaking pedal to the floor past the kickdown switch. It's definitely got a little bit more than it felt like on the initial drive. Look at this road. It's all a little torn up, but know where we found ourselves, but it is beautiful. We definitely have to get some photos up here. But I think the one thing that I noticed, we just sat in a bunch of traffic as the road was closed, is just how docile and how nice it is to have a hybrid car as a performance vehicle. One thing we haven't really explored too much on this channel, but I have on Out of Spec, especially in the early days, was taking a combustion powertrain, a combustion engine, and enhancing it with electric. Not making it electric first, not even making it a really good hybrid. Just using electric motors to enable torque vectoring and vehicle dynamic situations that would not have been possible with a combustion powertrain, filling in torque dips during gear changes. A lot of things are possible with electric that are not possible with combustion. Wow, look at this thing. It's really low speed, but you can already get a sense of the underlying capability of this car that I'm feeling, which is quite a bit of capability, no question. Just initially getting a sense of this car. Really, really cool vehicle. And a cool road. I mean, it's not a great driving road, it's just a cool road. This is really neat up here. So we'll catch you guys when we can have a little bit more fun. But look at this house here, it's like a jungle. Where are we? This is so cool. It doesn't love to get into first gear. There we go. Like, it doesn't love off throttle getting into first. Oh, it boogies up top, no question. Nice rev limiter too. Wop, wop, wop. Typical Honda rev limiter. Love that. This is like a golf cart path now, Alyssa.
Yeah, I don't know about this.
Join me on some better roads in the NSX now, and we're able to really start to get a feel for it and open it up a little bit. It's quite a bumpy road, but because of course it's mid-engine and it's actually very compliant even with the dampers in full stiff, it's doing a really good job of soaking up all the bumps. I am having this weird issue, I'll just show you here, where it won't go into first gear. It shows one and then blinks like it can't go in, but if I hit the throttle, then it goes into first and it pops out. So unless you're like on throttle in first, it will auto upshift as soon as you let up. So it hates first gear. So every other gear, I'm in manual mode, traction control's off, I'm in full track mode. Every other gear will hold at the red line except for first. And that is seemingly a very Acura Honda situation. I'm not sure why that's the case, why they do that, but they just tend to always have this aggressive non-first gear policy that I wasn't expecting to see here in the NSX. So that, to me, as someone who loves to get first gear, stab the throttle, it's hard for me to get okay with that sort of programming logic, because here, tight corner, it won't let me get into first. Then I keep grabbing left panel on the exit. As soon as I hit the throttle, I get first. And then it lets me do paddles. So that's a bit weird. Okay, let's move on from that. There's enough power in second where I don't really need it. Wow, the way this thing gets out of a corner with that electric torque, our battery's fully charged right now, even on this bumpy road, is just... It's got freaking torque, which you're not used to feeling in Honda or Acura products from my side. This has plenty of grunt off the line. Now it seems like maybe we've reached the end of the road around here a little bit, and so we may want to end up flipping around. Well, let's go have some more fun. They moved the bulldozer for us, and so we're good to go. Man, does it rev. Loves well over 7,000 RPM. I wonder if this thing actually has launch control. Let's go into drive. We're in track, which is typically how you would do it. Seatbelt gets tight. Let's see if it'll go into a launch. Left foot to the floor. Launch mode ready. Boogie's off the line, that's for sure. Back into manual mode. Just awesome how it gets into a corner. It feels pretty heavy compared to the Amira, which it is. This is 3,800 pounds, I believe. stressed. It just loves wide open throttle. Wow. That is cool. And this is a low speed second gear road. See, this is where I'd kind of want first gear, but we can stay in second and have enough power to get out. You can hear the carbon's getting a little bit of temperature. Oh, this is a freaking racetrack. It's dusty though, there's not much grip, and these tires might be a few years old. Wow! This is so cool. Wow, the downshifts are lightning fast. Full power, let's go. Oh my God. What a dream. What is this? This is like a little hiking trail or off-road trail. I don't even know. That's amazing. Weird. So it did hit redline in first there, which it hadn't done for me before. But man, this thing has got the acceleration. The battery, we've only used a tiny bit because every time that it can, even here under light throttle, it's using, I don't know if it's using the front motors to regen or if it's using the pancake motor off the output shaft of the engine to charge the battery. But I can watch this charge and output gauge constantly charge up the battery whenever it's not used. And track mode aggressively charges the battery so that you have enough electric juice always to get moving. Really impressed with the tuning here. This car is really cool. The brake pedal feels old. Like, I bet this would be like amazing brake tuning 10 years ago or 8 years ago even. But here in 2024, I mean, it's driving a car like this reminds me just how far technology has come with electric in such a short period of time and adapting it for different use cases. So and then we just stand on the brake pedal. You feel no ABS feedback into the brake pedal. You hear it click away, but you just, yeah, you don't feel it at all in the brakes. But it's amazing how effective it is. I guess I understand why maybe this car had a little bit of lacking enthusiasm early on, only because it doesn't really feel that hardcore. But that's actually kind of nice on a road like this, because the road is extremely bumpy. And here we are in a car that's compliant, keeping the tires on the ground with really, I can just place this car exactly where I want it to. Steering, it's got a lot of stuff coming back through it, but it's also a pretty aggressive road, so I'm not really sure how the steering feel would be on a solid road, but I'm just loving the way that it weights up. Feels light on the front axle, double wishbone front and rear, so the tire stays on the ground even under cornering forces. We got to get some photos here. This is beautiful. What a road, what a drive in the NSX. This really, if it was any crazier, like if this was a, you know, a 918 or something, first of all, you'd feel bad about driving it on a road this rough. You'd be worried about nicking something or getting a scrape, but these are at the point where you can drive them. I mean, this is obviously the press car, so it's meant to be driven and enjoyed and had the shit kicked out of it, technical term. However, I think we can go right down through here and not scrape anything. What do you think, Alyssa?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a, ooh, maybe a little non-scrape. Nice. No scrapage happening here. A little tripod action though. Yeah, wow, what an amazing view. You really feel very low center of mass, almost has an EV-like low feeling, and that's because that the engine, the top of the engine is below the top of the wheels, or tires. Engine's all the way down. What a cool driving experience this is, no question. Let's get some photos and then we'll head back. I've scratched the itch, checked it off the bucket list. It's an everyday supercar, no question. Could it be crazier? Yeah, they make a crazier one too. The Type S came. I would love to try that one, but on a road like this, a low speed road where you're really using that electric motor to pull you out, awesome. Sound of it. Yeah, why don't you get some exhaust clips outside? Let's let the viewers hear what this thing sounds like. this car was a flop. It definitely wasn't. There's a large NSX enthusiast base. The car is really well engineered. There's no way around that. And for all of the features and functions that this car has, and the power that it has coming out of these corners with the electric motors is 10 years ago. I don't think people appreciated how hard it was to do electric with combustion and making it work in a usable package. No question, the refinement has gotten better over the years because, you know, you drive a lot of modern cars now and the brake pedal's better, the transmissions shift a little bit quicker, but the downshifts in this are pretty spicy, pretty great. The car is just lacking some of that visceral, real, hardcore feel. But I think that wasn't the design intention for this car. They wanted to build a balanced, enjoyable driver that you could take anywhere and do anything with. And here we are driving it on, like I said, an incredibly rough road. People are literally camping in their ambulances here. This is not like a smooth piece of tarmac. And it's soaking up the bumps, it's balanced, and I can just keep steering and steering it into a corner. And it even feels like it's doing some off-throttle torque vectoring too. But the more throttle I give it, the more this thing just turns and turns and turns, which is freaking awesome. And a cool experience that I've had the chance to drive with some of these quad motor electric vehicles. But imagine when this came out, these quad motor vehicles didn't exist. This wasn't a topic. And here we are in a combustion car, just giving it more and more throttle, getting it through corners, and it's just doing it. It's awesome. And you just point this thing into a corner, stab the throttle, and it just freaking rips. Man, it's cool. Doesn't really feel super light, doesn't really give you that much raw engagement, but in terms of the technical execution, does that just fine. Oh my gosh. You can really cover some distance. I think we'll pause it here and say amazing views, amazing car, my first NSX experience. I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to try this car out. Just feeling how everything is working together is so cool. Alyssa, any impressions on the NSX?
It boogies around corners, that's for sure.
It's just the way that it uses each tire to get you through a corner is really cool. The shouty, super handling all-wheel drive.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Well, let's get some more exterior clips and then we gotta go drive their electric. Found some nice, sweet, smooth roads, which are awesome. And we're just gonna come through. Now this is a mid-engine car, so you gotta drive it similar to a lot of the other cars we've had on this channel, where you keep the weight just on the front tire to get it into a corner, get it to turn, and then give it a little bit of throttle on the exit. Oh my gosh, look at this road. And we're the only ones up here. This is incredible. What a freaking amazing car. This is the perfect place to experience all this torque vectoring. Traction control is still on. It's backed off, but we don't need to be sliding around there like heritage car. Wow, what a road. And this is where I think it ends. Santa Barbara, 7 miles up that way. It says road closed. So we're gonna have to, thankfully, go back the way that we came. The only problem, Alyssa, fuel range. If you take a look here at the display, it shows 36 miles of fuel. Oh well. Well, at least we got to, we'll just take it a bit easier. We'll just keep some speed on. I'm curious to take it out of track mode and try some of the Sport Plus stuff. See how this feels. Because we're going to have to go back basically the whole way we came here and not run out of fuel. So fingers crossed. So this is me driving efficiently. under stressed. It's so reliable. The brake pedal is nice. It's actually a firm pedal. I thought it was maybe going to stay the same, as it was a little bit weird when the brakes were cold, but no, it's good. You just don't get much feedback through the brakes. But I think a lot of people are kind of used to that in 2024, maybe. I think a lot of EVs have weird brake pedals. Some do it really well, of course. And this is definitely on the weird side for a modern car. But that powertrain, when you get it up above 7, wow, it is just awesome. That's right, we gotta save fuel. Save fuel, Kyle. 30 miles of range. If we run out, we just want to run out as close to the gas station as possible so we can walk the least amount. So, revs low, although that then boosts up the turbos. The electric motors really hide a lot of the torque dip from turbochargers. It's really, really nice package powertrain wise. Feels so stout. I definitely see there was room for the Type S. But what a beautiful place to drive. And what a beautiful car to drive in. Those downshifts are intoxicating. Motorsport downshifts. Train, cool car. Now we're back on the rough pavement. Alright, time to be efficient to end this video. If you made it this far in the video, we're driving electric in traffic, and I did make it to a fueling station, but we made it in literally on fumes, Alyssa. We coasted in on hard E. But we're good, and I filled it up. Now it's time to give it back to Acura. Big thanks to them for letting us have a go. Man, I just can't imagine if they took this same formula with today's technology, spiced it up a little bit, this car would be insane. Yeah, it's good, but it lacks something. It lacks total refinement, brake pedals, some powertrain stuff. It's like, it's such a good idea, and it's so close. Yeah. Do this in 2024 and it would be a monster. Yeah, the interior's kind of Yeah, the interior is not that exciting, I agree. But, I mean, whatever. Cool car. I think it'll have a renaissance in the used market over the next coming years. I think people will start to enjoy them, realize the reliability. Hopefully, I imagine they're pretty reliable. If they're not, comment below. I haven't followed the forums on these too closely. So, yeah, cool car, fun experience. That's the end of the video. Bye.